Hello, you guys. My name is Diana Vasquez, and welcome one more time to our session, to our English session. Today, it's our fourth English session, so welcome to class. As I said before, today we are also going to be talking about food, one of my favorite topics again. We are going to finish the unit, but today, last time we're talking about food, like food items, and countable and non-countable nouns. Today we are going to be talking about cooking methods. Cooking methods, following and giving directions as in recipes. So I really hope you enjoy it. For today, remember that you need pen and pencil for note-taking. Remember the steps that we have to follow. I know that I have said this many times, but I don't know, guys, if you're paying attention. I really trust that you are paying attention, but I don't know if you're new or something. So it's never extra to say it. So I'm going to write down the steps that we have to follow for vocabulary practice. And we go from there. Okay, so remember that the first one is going to be note-taking. Okay, it's going to be note-taking, so make sure you're writing down the name of the item. Well, in this case, the cooking method and the cooking utensils that we are going to be using. Okay, so just to take that into account. The second one is going to be pronunciation. So remember that I'm going to pronounce the word twice, and you are supposed to be repeating. So number 2 is pronunciation. And I'm going to say pronunciation times 2. Okay. The third one is going to be establishing real life connections. And the fourth one is going to be definitions. The ones that are going to have a blue tick right beside them are the ones you guys are in charge of. So I trust that you are following instructions, that you are doing what I'm asking you to do, and that we are going to complete this activity and we're going to be successful. But for this, I need your full commitment, and I need you for that, like a way to show me that you are 100% committed is by doing this on your own. So note-taking depends on you. Real life connections depends on you. I can give you, I can give you an idea as to how to establish real life connections, as to how I would do it. But you have to understand that we have different cultural backgrounds, that you are in India, and as I said before, unfortunately, I haven't been to India yet. So the only thing I know of the Indian culture is what I've read and what I've seen on TV. That doesn't necessarily have to be 100% true. And so I cannot really tell you from my experience how to establish those connections. So I'm going to be telling you what I would do, and then you try to do it on your own. You try to see if that works. If it doesn't work, try to find a way for you to make it happen, okay? And the last one that is definitions, it also depends on you. And that will be it, okay? So that is going to be for the part 4, our vocabulary, the way that we are going to cover vocabulary. And then our grammar for today is giving following directions. And let's say that the topic that we're using, since the big topic is food, is going to be recipes. So we have a listening activity for that. Before we begin, I already said that you need a pen and paper. And I'm going to show you, because I sent you this document, this PDF document. So you should have it. You should be able to have it. So I'm going to show you that today. I didn't print it out either. So I'm just going to open the document on a second tab, and that's the way that you could do it to make it work. So let me show that to you. Okay, so this is the document, and To start, we're gonna do this here together. It's just like a warm-up and to activate previous knowledge. So that is the purpose of this activity. I know it says it's supposed to be a cooking survey. We don't have to do the survey. So what I want you to do now is to try to answer these questions yourself. Okay, so the first question is, are you a good cook? So try to answer this question. Are you guys a good cook? Yes or no? In my case, I am not. I am not. I'm sorry, this is the truth. I'm not a good cook. Unfortunately, I'm not a good cook. I hope you're better than me. Okay, number two, or the second, well, it doesn't have a number, but the second question is, what was the last meal you cooked? What was the last meal you cooked, you guys? So think about it. Me, the last meal I cooked was, chicken. Yeah, chicken. In pesto sauce. That was the last thing I cooked, like 2 days ago. Okay, the third question is, have you ever had any cooking disasters? You know, like for example, you're trying to cook and something horrible happens. You don't know how to handle the situation. You make a big mess, or your food that you were hoping was going to be delicious ends up tasting horrible. I don't know, something like that. So me, well, yes, many, because I really don't know how to cook. So yes, I guess I have had many cooking disasters, unfortunately. The fourth question is, who's the best cook in your family? For me, that is an easy answer. The best cook in my family is my mom. What about you? My mom is the best cook in my family and one of the best cooks. I know, I love her food, but I also feel like we all tend to say the same thing about our moms. Okay, number 5 is, what is your favorite meal? So let me think. My favorite meal. I would say that, right, like I tend to have different stages. You know what I mean? Like one day I love rice and beans, and the other day I love something else, and like that. I think right now, at this point in my life, my favorite meal is fried chicken. So I live in the south of the United States, and the south of the United States is very famous for its fried chicken, okay? It's part of what they call soul food, that is like their traditional food. And I honestly think that their fried chicken is the best chicken I've ever had. So that's my favorite meal as of right now. And then it says, add your question. So of course, try to ask yourself a question, or try to ask somebody you know, maybe somebody that lives with you, a question, and to try to complete this step right here. And I'm gonna ask myself a question. Maybe you can answer this question too. And I would say, what is one food you don't eat? One food you don't like? Okay. And my answer would be, I do not like tomato. I don't like tomato. That would be the one food I don't like. So we are gonna stop here, you guys. And this PDF has more pages. So you have here some questions, some reading. Then you have here a recipe, that is what we're gonna do at the end, okay? Ingredients. And the last activity is gonna do it's about writing your own recipe. If we have time, we're gonna try to do it, except the writing your own recipe part, but we're gonna try to complete this part here about recipe, about the recipe. We're gonna try to do this today if time allows. So we're gonna start our presentation now. So I'm gonna stop sharing this. And we are going to start our presentation. Remember that as usual, we have 2 learning objectives. The first one related to vocabulary, the second one related to grammar. So here we go. So food, and this is food number 2 because we had already covered number 1. My name again is Diana Vasquez. I pronounce Diana, some people pronounce it Diana. Either one is fine. Okay, so learning objectives to identify food, and I forgot to include here cooking methods, using appropriate vocabulary, and number 2, to give and follow directions. So we're going to start with our vocabulary. At the beginning, we have the food utensils, and then we have cooking methods, okay? And once we have covered all that, we are going to continue with our grammar. So, vocabulary. Potato peeler. So let's repeat that one more time. Potato peeler. Remember that at the same time, because I cannot stop. I have many things to cover. So at the same time that we are pronouncing, you can try to write it down, because we have to cover all those 4 steps, okay? And for example, the note taking and the pronunciation, it's something that we can do parallel. And then once you have your note taking and this session is ended, you can go back to doing the real life connections and the definitions. But I do need you to be taking notes and pronouncing at the same time so we can keep it moving, okay? And the next one, we have a frying pan. One more time. Frying pan. Okay. Then we have a saucepan. Saucepan. And I told you before that I was gonna try to help you, telling you what kind of real life connections I would make. Okay? So I would think what I can use this utensil for. Okay, so what I can cook with a saucepan, and that maybe would help me remember. So I suggest that maybe you do it like that. Okay, if that works. If not, try to find a way around it. Okay, the next one is a knife. Again, knife. Corkscrew. One more time. Corkscrew. Teaspoon. Teaspoon. Fork. Make sure you're pronouncing that K at the end, okay? Fork. One more time. Fork. Tablespoon. Tablespoon. Let's remember that the teaspoon is the little one that you use when you're drinking tea or when you are maybe drinking coffee and you want to add a little bit of sugar. So the teaspoon is the one you would use. Or when you want to eat a dessert and you eat the dessert with a like little spoon, that would be the teaspoon. And then the tablespoon is the regular spoon, the bigger one that some people use to eat the soups or something like that. Okay. Next, we have a sieve. Sieve. And this is something that we use like to drain, right? To drain. Okay, next one. To drain like foods. It can be oil or water, depending on what you're cooking. Then we have a mixer or a blender. Same thing as I said before, you can use one word or the other. They are both fine, although we also use mixer to talk about a different item, but that's fine. The most important thing here, as I said, I think it was in our previous section, is that you need to be familiar with the vocabulary. Regardless of you using those words or not, You need to be able to understand what somebody who might use a different vocabulary may be trying to tell you. Okay, so this is why, like, I try to present you with different vocabulary options and even different pronunciations so that you can become familiar, like, with more options. So mixer and blender, again, for your real life connections, you guys, try to think of maybe foods that you could prepare here. Okay, so is this something that you have in your houses? Is this something that you use on a regular basis? You know, and if so, what do you use it for? These are ways that you can use to establish real life connections. Okay, so again, mixer, blender. Next we have a bottle opener. Again, bottle opener. One more time, bottle opener. Then we have scissors. Again, scissors. And now I'm going to present you with 3 cooking methods, okay? So the first one, I think I have 3. The first one is bake. Again, bake. The second one is boil. Boil. Let's go back to this one for a little bit. So bake. To bake, you need an object. So where do you bake things? You need an oven to bake, right? So you put, let's say this is my tray with cookies like that you're in the picture. You have to put them in your oven that is like this big object that gets really, really hot and cooks food. So bake. And this, like, I'm trying to help you with number 4, that is the definition. Boil. Boil is basically having water, setting the temperature really, really high until the water starts like making bubbles. This is when things are boiled, and I would say it's a very traditional cooking method. Okay? And I think this is the last one. We have fry. So again, fry. What is fry? So to fry, we usually need a frying pan that we saw before, and we put a little bit of oil, right? And we put there the ingredient or the food that we're going to be cooking. So that is pretty much the 3 cooking methods. We have more. I actually think I have one more. I mean, there are more cooking methods. I just, like, it's impossible to cover them all. But if you find that there is something that you want to say and I did not include it, and how do you know you want to say it? Because maybe it's a cooking method that is very popular in your culture, okay? And it might not be as popular to me, so maybe I don't know about it, or I just didn't include it. I try to include here the ones that I think are more common, at least from my cultural perspective. So if you think that there is some vocabulary that's missing, feel free to find it on your own and do the same steps, okay? Yeah, so this is one more cooking method that I had, and it's grill. Okay, so again, grill. And very important here, the cooking method is grill, to grill, and the object that we use to grill is a grill. So what is a grill, or what is to grill? It's cooking by using charcoal and getting the charcoal really, really hot until it produces flame, and then you put the food on top of the grill and cook them. Okay, so that's it for our vocabulary for today. And now we are gonna follow with our grammar. Okay, so for our grammar we have sequence adverbs. Okay, or adverbs of sequence. So first of all, what are adverbs of sequence? Sequence, as the word itself explains, it's a process, and it's more than a process, is an order. There is an order. So when you say first, second, third, and you have different steps, that is a sequence. Okay, so the sequence adverbs that we are going to use today are the words we use to indicate that this step is number one, this is number two, this is number three, and this is the last one. So those are the sequence adverbs or adverbs of sequence that we are going to be using today, and we are going to be using them today to cover grammar and to cover recipes, okay? So that being said, in my presentation, the sequence adverbs that I have here are 5, okay? I didn't want to give you more than 5. And those are these that are in bold letters. So first, then, next, after that, and finally. Now, I have chosen this order, but it does not mean that this order is the only one possible, or that this sequence is the only one possible, and if you mix them up a little bit, it's going to be wrong. No, that is absolutely not what it means. However, you do have to take into account that first and finally cannot be moved. Okay, so first is always going to be the first one, number one, and finally is always going to be the last one. Those two you cannot move. Then next and after that you can move. Okay, so you can say first, and then you can say after that, and then you can say then, and then next. So for these 3 right here, then, next, and after that, you can move them freely. Again, you cannot move first and finally. It's a no. So we have a recipe here, and this recipe is for a peanut butter sandwich that I think last class when we were talking about food items, I told you peanut butter was a staple in American cuisine, or I would say American pantries. And this sandwich apparently was Elvis Presley's favorite food. I don't know if you are familiar with Elvis Presley. He passed a long time ago, but he was a very famous, I would say one of the most famous rock and roll stars in the United States, and he was famous worldwide. And so this was like his favorite food, and it's a peanut butter sandwich. So peanut butter and banana sandwich. And this is the recipe, very simple and very quick recipe. So first, mix the peanut butter and banana together. So peanut butter and banana together, you mix them up. Then toast the slices of bread. Toast the slices of bread. It can be a toaster, so you put the slices in it when you're done. Next, spread the mixture on the toast. What is the mixture, you may ask? The mixture is what you did on step 1, that was the peanut butter and the banana together. After that, put the sandwich in a pan with butter. So like the frying pan, a little bit of butter, and the sandwich. You already have the 2 slices of bread with the peanut butter and banana together, like with that mixture in the middle, okay? And it says, finally, fry the sandwich until it's golden brown on both sides. That means that you have to flip it. So it's golden brown on both sides. And that is a very simple recipe. That was the peanut butter and banana sandwich that Elvis Presley loved. Okay, so remember that we have 5 sequence adverbs. There are more, but I have chosen these 5 for our lesson today. So again, first, then, next, after that, and finally, and I repeat this again because it's never too much. You can move then, next, and after that, but you cannot move first and finally. First is always number 1, and finally is always going to be the last one. Now, another thing that you can do is that you can duplicate them. Okay, so you can say, like if you have more than 5 steps, you can do first, then you say next, then after that, and you can use then again, or you can use next again, or you can use after that again. What you cannot duplicate again are first and finally. Okay, so they have to remain in the same position and they cannot be duplicated. Everything else in between can be duplicated and can be switched around. Okay, so it says, here is a recipe for grilled kebabs. Number the steps from 1 to 5, then add a sequence adverb to each step. Okay, so this is the plate that, or the meal that we're gonna make. So a beef kebab, this is the best picture I found, but usually a grilled kebab is pieces of meat and vegetables together, and they put in a skewer. This is the skewer right here, what goes through the ingredients. So this blue thing is the skewer. I'm actually gonna write skewer back here. So let's erase this. Let me focus your attention on my board. Okay, so what we are making, or the recipe, is for kebabs, grilled in this case, and grilled will be the cooking method that at this point you are already familiar with, right? And we have the skewer, that is what you use to hold the ingredients, right? So here you have meat, and then you have a vegetable, and then you have meat and vegetable and meat and vegetable and meat. The meat, it can be anything. It can be beef, it can be pork, it can be chicken, it can be seafood, and then the vegetables, onions, peppers, tomatoes, anything. Sky is the limit, as they would say. Okay, so this is the ingredient. I'm going to give you 5 steps. The first thing you have to do, just think of the logic of it, you know, like what would you do before? So the first thing you are going to do is that you're going to number the steps. As a matter of fact, I have already numbered the first step for you, and then you have to add a sequence adverb. So first, then, next, after that, and finally. So of course I have already given you the first one, so it has a number 1, and it has the adverb that will be first. Okay, you have to identify the rest of them. Okay, so this is the recipe. Okay, so you have blank. That blank is for the sequence adverb, and you have put the meat and vegetables on the skewers. The next one is number 1 and first, so you're gonna start right there. And it says, first, put the charcoal in the grill and light it. If you don't know what the charcoal is, it's like the red blocks that you use and you put in the grill and then you set them on fire to cook. That is charcoal, in case you didn't know. Then you have blank, take the kebabs off the grill and enjoy. Then you have blank, put the kebabs on your grill and cook for 10 to 15 minutes. Turning them over from time to time so they don't get burned. And then we have blank, cut up some meat and vegetables, marinate them for 20 minutes in your favorite sauce. So that is the recipe. I am going to give you maybe 1 minute to try to figure it out, and then I will show you the answer. If you think you need more time, which I totally understand, I think it'd be better for you to pause the video, to pause the streaming, so you can solve it before you see the answers, right? I mean, I have to give you the answers because I don't want to just let you hang in, but I do want you to make an effort and try to identify it on your own. So let's do this for a minute. I'm counting. I'm actually going to use a timer. I think it'd be good to use it. And you can use this extra time to try to figure it out. I'm going to use a timer for 1 minute. You see it right there? Yep. So when it beeps, time's up, and we'll go, and I will give you the answers, you guys. Don't worry about me. You do what you are supposed to be doing right now. You got 30 seconds left. 20. Yeah, I don't think you can hear it, but time's up. Okay, so I'm going to show you now what it should look like. Again, if you did not, I know 1 minute is not enough, but as I hope you understand, we have to keep going. So I'm pretty sure that if you are not ready yet and you really want to do it on your own, as you should, you can pause the streaming. So these are the answers. So we have, I'm going to try to read it in order, okay? So the first one was number 3, then we have 1, 5, 4, and 2. And now we're going to read it in order to try to find the logic. So first, put the charcoal in the griddle and light it. Then cut up some meat and vegetables, marinate them for 20 minutes in your favorite sauce. Next, put the meat and the vegetables on the skewers. After that, put the kebabs on the grill and cook for 10 to 15 minutes, turning them over from time to time. And finally, take the kebabs off the grill and enjoy. So that is your recipe. Those are the answers. And let's go to next. So for this one, this is a listening, okay? And the listening is tempting snacks. I was trying to, of course, like to, how do you say that? To see if the, like before the class, the session, I was trying to see if this presentation was gonna work, and it was working. However, I could not make the audio work. So I can play the audio from the computer. I could not insert or embed the audio on the presentation. So what I think I'm going to do is that I have to close the presentation to play the audio so you can hear it. So we have here a bagel, cookies, guac or guacamole, pizza, and popcorn. Okay, we are gonna listen to this audio twice, okay, and you are gonna number the photos from 1 to 4. I know you have 5 photos, which means there is 1 extra photo. So there is one of these snacks that they are not talking about. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna write the words here on the back so you can have them as reference while I play the audio, okay? Because I don't think I'm gonna be able to play the audio and show you the pictures at the same time. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing, and we are going to do now. We had a bagel, right? After the bagel, after the bagel, we had cookies. Then after the cookies, we had the guacamole. Then after the guac, we had pizza. And after the pizza, we had popcorn. So before we play the audio, I if you are going to be familiar with this too. I think you're familiar with these three options, maybe not these two. So I'm gonna give you a brief explanation of what each of them are. A bagel is basically a bread sliced, and it has cheese, like cream cheese or spreadable cheese in the middle. Okay, so that is a bagel. So just take that into account in case you don't know what it is. It's going to be easier for you to identify it during the listening. So a bagel is the bread with cheese. Cookies, I'm pretty sure you know, it's a sweet treat. Guacamole is very typical in South American cuisine. Its main ingredient is avocado. Okay, so it's pretty much chopped avocado with salt, pepper, and maybe hot sauce. Okay, so that is guac. Pizza, I'm pretty sure you know it, Italian food, very famous. And then popcorn is corn that you pop, and then you put some salt, or some people some sugar or caramel with it. So that's it, that's the vocabulary. So bagel, cookies, guac, pizza, and popcorn. We're gonna go with the listening. And then, so what you're gonna do is try to number those items from 1 to 4. Remember that there is one extra, and so there is one word that you are not gonna use at all. And then we're gonna do this listening twice, and once we have completed that, I will show you the right answers, okay? So let's do the listening. So one more time, bagel, cookies, guac, pizza, and popcorn.
Page 26, exercise 11, listening, tempting snacks. Part A, listen to people explain how to make these snacks. Which snack are they talking about? Number the photos from 1 to 4. There is one extra photo. 1.
This is really easy. First, you put a little oil in a pan, then heat the oil. Next, put in the kernels and cover the pan. When the kernels start to pop, shake the pan gently every few seconds. In about a minute, the popping will slowly stop. After that, turn off the heat and pour it into a bowl. Finally, put a little salt on it and enjoy.
2.
I love this snack. First, take an avocado and mash it. Next, you chop half a tomato and half an onion and add them to the avocado. After that, you chop a little cilantro and add that in. Then, put in some lemon or lime juice. Finally, add a little salt, pepper, and of course, hot sauce. It's great with chips.
3.
A friend from New York City taught me how to make this. First, cut it in half, then toast it. After that, let it cool a little and then spread cream cheese on it. It's really good for breakfast, but you can eat it anytime.
4.
You need dough, olive oil, tomato sauce, and cheese. First, roll out the dough into a circle and put a little oil on it. Then put the dough into the oven and bake it for a few minutes. Next, put tomato sauce on the dough. After that, cover the sauce with cheese. Then put it back into the oven and bake it for another 10 minutes. Finally, cut it into slices. You'll love it.
Okay, so we're gonna do this listening one more time, just to make sure that the answers you have are correct. And that's it. Okay.
Page 26, exercise 11, listening, tempting snacks. Part A, listen to people explain how to make these snacks. Which snack are they talking about? Number the photos from 1 to 4. There is one extra photo. 1.
This is really easy. First, you put a little oil in a pan, then heat the oil. Next, put in the kernels and cover the pan. When the kernels start to pop, shake the pan gently every few seconds. In about a minute, the popping will slowly stop. After that, turn off the heat and pour it into a bowl. Finally, put a little salt on it and enjoy.
2,
I love this snack. First, take an avocado and mash it. Next, you chop half a tomato and half an onion and add them to the avocado. After that, you chop a little cilantro and add that in. Then, put in some lemon or lime juice. Finally, add a little salt, pepper, and of course, hot sauce. It's great with chips.
3,
A friend from New York City taught me how to make this. First, cut it in half, then toast it. After that, let it cool a little and then spread cream cheese on it. It's really good for breakfast, but you can eat it anytime.
4,
You need dough, olive oil, tomato sauce, and cheese. First, roll out the dough into a circle and put a little oil on it. Then put the dough into the oven and bake it for a few minutes. Next, put tomato sauce on the dough. After that, cover the sauce with cheese. Then put it back into the oven and bake it for another 10 minutes. Finally, cut it into slices. You'll love it.
Okay, guys, so we already did the listening twice, and now I'm going to show you what your answers should look like. So if you have the answers I'm going to show you, your answers are correct. Otherwise, that means we will need to start to still be working on our listening skills, okay? So let me share the presentation with you again, and I'll show you the answers. So here we go. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen now. Okay, so those were our options. We have again bagel, cookies, guac, pizza, and popcorn. And the answers are as follows. So number 1 was popcorn. They mentioned a word that is kernel, and I'm going to write it here, back here. We can go back to this. So the kernel is pretty much like the corn, you know, the corn that you use to make popcorn. Those are the kernels when it's yellow, like before you pop it. Okay, number 2 is guac. As I said, it's a staple in South American cuisine. Well, South American, no, Latin American cuisine, especially Mexico. Very famous in Mexican food. It's spicy, as food in Mexico. Number 3 is a bagel. And when they are talking about the bagel, like one of the keywords or key terms that they use is New York. Bagels are very famous in New York, but bagel is originally a Jewish food, okay? And number 4 is cookies. So of course, and we know cookies because they talk about the dough. And bacon, of course, and clearly the one that they don't use is pizza. Okay, so with this, we finished for today, you guys. Thank you very much. Before I go, remember that you have this other, let me share this with you, this other material, okay, that we started using at the beginning. Pay attention to the recipe. Try to complete this on your own. Okay, I think it'd be really good, especially this here, like fill in the blanks. Okay, and here, very important. Of course, when it says like work in pairs or something like that, we know that you cannot do that, so don't worry about that. but try to find this vocabulary, maybe draw pictures of it or find a picture. Try to like note taking, pronunciation, real life connections. All of those things are important, you guys, okay? So, for example, I help you with the pronunciation of these words and you do the rest of the work on your own. So, chopped. At the end, I know you see a D, but it has to sound like a T, you know, the explosive T I've been telling you about. So chopped, crushed, halved. In this case, it has to sound like a D, okay? So halved, sliced, again a D, sliced, drained, again a D, drained, I'm sorry, rinsed, ground, peeled, cut, crumbled. And let's do this here too. So fry, heat, cook, drain, pour, sprinkle, cook, add, mix. Okay, so I help you with the pronunciation. Try to complete the packet on your own. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have enjoyed it. And I will see you next time. Our topic with today, we're finished talking about food. Our next topic is going to be leisure. So don't miss it. I hope it's going to be very entertaining. I hope you like it. So I will see you then. Bye-bye. Take care.